Getting people to agree is hard enough. Getting people to go through the process of confirming and affirming their signatures is much harder, and it's absolutely crucial. When the letter was published, Afua went on to do endless radio and television interviews explaining why the BBC decision should be reversed. Within another 48 hours, the BBC Director General reversed the decision. What Afua did was unique in the speed of its response, unique in effectiveness in getting the BBC to reverse its decision, and unique in the way it inspired others to join together to write other less public letters which have also got results. And as I said, it also galvanised people publicly to express their support. It brought us together. It did not divide us. So tonight, it's a great pleasure to invite Afua Hirsh to accept the Campaign for Broadcasting Equality Campaigner of the Year Award for 2019.
So my family are in the room and they will attest to the fact that I am very rarely speechless. It's surreal to hear you speak about me in this way. I'm just beyond humbled. Ayesha, I miss you every single week. We have so much fun on CNN Talk, and it stands out in my entire career as an opportunity to be on a platform with a like-minded woman of colour who is not just, as you saw, remarkably eloquent and well-educated, informed, but also funny. You are so funny. I've actually not seen Ayesha before stand-up, so this is the closest that I've come, but I'm going to make that happen as soon as you invite me, because your talent is remarkable, and it's a shame that we don't get to do that anymore, but I'm confident that we will find a way. Samira doesn't actually remember the first time I met her. I actually fangirled Samira when I was about 21. I was at an event, I can't remember what the event is, but it was at the Soho Hotel, and you were with your husband. And I remember being like, oh my God, that's Samira Ahmed from Channel 4 News. She's my idol. And then I had about half an hour of complete crisis as to whether I was brave enough to go up to her. But I was like a little 20-year-old who was terrified and really embarrassing. And eventually I plucked up the courage to go and say hello to Samira. And she was so friendly and gracious and patient, and said some things that really confirmed to me that at some point I wanted to try and be like her. Wow. So it feels unbelievably fateful and humbling to be on the same platform as you, and to have watched your journey and your courage, frankly, because what Samira did last year is beyond what I can imagine. Taking a giant like the BBC to tribunal, putting yourself publicly out there, putting so much at stake. And I know that Samira did that partly because of what she was going through, but because also she believed in the principle. And that is really remarkable. So to be introduced by these two women is in itself beyond what I could have imagined. And then I was actually thinking about this award, CBE. The initials are kind of interesting. I realised that, you know what, I can now say to my mum, I did accept that CBE. This is the CBE that I want. So thank you so much to Simon for making this happen. I was beyond surprised when you told me this. I can't pretend to be surprised today because I didn't know that I was going to be presented with the award, but I have to say, being here and listening to your words and seeing you all here, the reality is still sinking in. One of my friends and a fellow inspiring colleague who's not here did the helpful thing of telling me this morning, when I had a 3,000 word print deadline for Vogue that I was writing, as well as another event today, that I better make sure I said something really inspiring because we need it for the struggle. So and really go into what I think about this whole space of the work that we do in the media. And I was thinking, actually, my relationship with the media started with my relationship with the world. That's how it works, right? And I always knew deep down that I was proud of my heritage, and that it was part of the building blocks that gave me strength and character and purpose. I believe that we all stand on the shoulders of our mothers and fathers, our grandfathers and mothers, our ancestors. But was I quick to tell people growing up that my paternal grandfather was a refugee? I realised when I came to do my research for my book that when Jewish people came to the UK in the 1930s seeking sanctuary from the Nazis, something that British people are very proud of today, they were described in all too familiar terms at the time. The Daily Express said that Britain was becoming a dumping ground for Nazi exiles, and the Daily Mail, no other, claimed that they were coming in through the back door. And was I quick to tell people that my mother was an African immigrant? The media was largely responsible, when I was growing up, for my miseducation about the African continent, in spite of what I learned from my mother and her family about Ghana, where our family is from. I believed on some level that Africa was a land of dictators and famines, and I was well into my 20s with an Oxford degree before I fully understood that industrialisation in Britain, 2 world wars, post-war reconstruction, the building of the modern welfare state, and everything that has allowed us to be a functioning, globalised economy, the 5th richest in the world, stands on the shoulders of people like my Ghanaian ancestors. And when I really think about it, the media played a huge role in making me not only misinformed, but also ashamed of my heritage. The media helped me be ashamed of my body, my hair, even my name. My parents will tell you that when I was 7, I tried to change my name without any success to Caroline. It's a true story of how history could have been different. The media still lies to us every day. The media still tells us that the anti-immigration sentiment that's become completely normalised in our political discourse has nothing to do with race. And when you look into the history of that idea, it's always struck me that in 1948, the year that 500 Jamaican British citizens came here on the Windrush, an event that has played such a huge part in our national consciousness, there was a huge soul-searching exercise into the impact of immigration on Britain. Yet the very same year, 200,000 Polish and Irish immigrants came to Britain, largely unnoticed. I challenge you to find a politician who will tell you that those 200,000 immigrants changed Britain today. We are sold this false equivalence between racism and anti-racism. We're told that the BBC needs balance. So if there's an anti-racist on Question Time, they need to find a former candidate for the National Front to balance that out. We're told that it is a question of balance, that a woman of colour who talks from her lived experience about the racist abuse she has experienced in her lifetime is a violation of its rules on impartiality. Racism is not an opinion. Racism is an ideology that stands counter to every single one of our fundamental values as a nation. Racism, Abraham Joshua Heschel said, is man's gravest threat to man, the maximum of hatred for a minimum of reason. Some of the most powerful words about racism have actually come from people who are not black. Heschel is right. Racism is the greatest threat to humanity. Am I complacent about climate change? How could there be the climate change we're experiencing now without racism? How could the great polluters of the earth function the way they do if they've not committed genocide against the indigenous people who occupied those lands, who for millennia understood how to manage them, how to maintain balance, how to be custodians of land for future generations without laying waste to their precious resources? Could we have the forest fires we've had in Australia, or the desertification that we've had in Africa, or the carbon emissions we see in America, without the racist ideologies that allowed those countries to become the modern economies they have, and the polluting, destructive economies they have today. I'm here for everybody who is anti-racist. From my own parents, who first showed me what anti-racism looks like, and to my sister Anna, who was my first anti-racism ally. Didn't necessarily know the phrase at the time, but you know, she definitely was. And to each and every single member of my Black Broadcasters group, an incredible network of allies, colleagues, friends, brothers and sisters, with whom and I see you, Valley, I see you, Lucy, there are so many of you here. This would not have been possible without your support. And to every single person who isn't in my network but who signed the letter, and to every single person who didn't sign the letter but contacted me or went on social media to voice their support, everyone who became part of that change deserves this award too, and I accept it on all your behalf. We are a movement. We will be listened to. Sometimes people ask me how I cope with the hostile spaces that I deal with in TV. Not mentioning any names, but people know who he is. He's actually only one of the hostile spaces I have to go into. The other sometimes includes the former Director General of the BBC, but that's another story. And you know, the way that I do that, I think, is because I know, and I've just come back from LA, so forgive me, I'm going to use one of these poorly Americanisms, but the other media multi-hyphenate that I admire, and I learned that phrase, I didn't know I was a media multi-hyphenate, but it's a great label for what I do. Now my mum will understand it. Oprah Winfrey once said, when she walks into a room, she knows, even though she's the only woman, the only Black woman, the only person of African heritage in the space, she knows she comes as 10,000. Every time I go into one of those hostile spaces, I'm thinking about all of the people who I represent, who don't have that platform, who share this cause, who care about this, who stand beside me. And it's because of the strength of all of you that I'm able to keep doing this work. Sometimes it's frustrating and it's disheartening because we're fighting for things we shouldn't have to fight for. We should not have had to campaign for Naga Muchetti to not be reprimanded for communicating that her lived experiences of racism are bad. That to me is not progress. We did it because we had to. And it is easy to lose heart, but you know, there's another way of looking at this as well, because when your leaders fail you, and I'm speaking in particular about our political leaders when I say that, although I do look forward to the Conservatives no longer claiming that broken families and single parents and absent baby fathers are the reason that Black community is not thriving as it should. Presumably that rhetoric is about to be speeded and dropped. When our leaders fail us, we get to step up. We get to step up, we get to become leaders, we get to change the game. And that's what I see happening. And not just from us, but from a younger generation who constantly impress and inspire me with their activism, with the unapologetic way they take up space. I've learned so much from them, and I think that change is coming. And you know, when I think about the mainstream media organisations who I talk to, and I see us going from having asked them to treat us fairly to demanding that they treat us fairly, I also sometimes think they will look back and wish for the day that we were trying to have this conversation with them, because they need us more than we need them. They will regret it if they do not listen to us, because we will vote with our feet, and we will start our own platforms and our own organisations, and that is already happening. And so my message to them is heed us, because you will regret it if you don't. But we're strong, and we're getting stronger every year. And you know, events like this and spaces like this, Simon, even though I know I believe in what I do, sometimes it's beyond powerful to be reminded, surrounded by friends and allies and my beloved family, that this matters, this makes a difference. So I am inspired by all of you. You've turned up on a Sunday night. I met someone whose birthday it is, and she's here. Where are you? Big up to you. Happy birthday. I'm so humbled that you all came, that you all supported me, that you continue to support me, and I trust that you will continue to tell me how I can support you, because I'm here for you, and that's why I do what I do every day. Thank you.